Denis Villeneuve's Dune is a futuristic geopolitical sci-fi drama adapted from Frank Herbert's 1965 classic Dune. This is the first of two planned features, the movie actually stating Part 1 in the title. The book, however, has a long, complex, and seriously deep structure. Here in the movie, the scriptwriters attempt to present almost half of it within 2 hours and 30 minutes. It sets to achieve what Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings has done for fantasy, or what Game of Thrones, more like the first 5 seasons of it, has done for TV with its stunning cinematography from Greg Fraser, majestic visuals, and hauntingly beautiful desert landscape. The colors, however, are a bit bland and monotonous. The sweeping deserts, from what I have seen, are much more colorful and a lot more desolate. A shadowy ghost of David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia can be felt in the cinematography, permeating in every vast shot of the desert landscape. It feels like the star power of Chalamet overshadows the character a little bit. The characters feel like they are set up for the plots. We know the father loves his son because we are shown so. It's the politics and the world and the grand visual excellence rather than the complex character relationships or emotion that drives the movie forward. The character relationships seem a little underdeveloped and the emotions somewhat misplaced. The visuals are no doubt one of the greatest of 2021. Paul, the protagonist, seeps into deep contemplation about the vulnerabilities of his dreams. The movie depends on a lot of exposition. What you will learn about Arrakis is from Paul learning about Arrakis. And don't forget the score from Hans Zimmer. It's everywhere. There's nothing wrong with the costumes and the visual effects, and the attention to detail is commendable. It's a feast for the eyes. For a 155-minute movie, it felt like it was a little drawn out, and at the same time, left me wanting for more. Duke Leto Atreides, played by Oscar Isaac, of planet Caladan has been ordered by the Emperor to go to the sandstorm-tossed desert planet Arrakis, also known as Dune, to take charge of the entire planet. The planet is occupied by the House Harkonnen, who are also in charge of the spice harvesting and production. Arrakis is a source for the highly coveted spice that preserves life, gives someone superhuman level of thoughts, and makes interstellar travel possible. Leto knows that there is definitely a trap of some kind, but he goes with his concubine Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson, and his son Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet. Paul, scion of the House Atreides, is set to become the Kwisatz Haderach, a messiah of some sort. You know, the "you are a wizard, Harry" kind of thing. He has been practicing various Bene Gesserit skills, like the use of the voice to speak to another person commandingly. He has dreams, prophetic visions, a lot actually, which he does not yet fully understand. He tells his dream to Duncan Idaho, played by Jason Momoa. It's about a desert and a mysterious Fremen girl, and Duncan being dead in battle. The two click, and their chemistry is actually nice. Later, Paul sees his father and requests him to be allowed to go with Duncan to Arrakis. Leto doesn't allow Paul, as he's too important a person to go on such a treacherous journey. The prolonged dad-son moment with a lot of exposition, it's not bad, but it can be shortened manageably. Jessica, mother of Paul, is part of a female-exclusive cult or force that trains bodies and minds of its members to become superhumanly able both physically and mentally. Paul has been trained by his mother and by Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohiam. What a name! There's Greek, Roman, and Arabic in it. By subjecting his hand into a box full of pain while holding a needle laced with the instant drop-dead poison Gom Jabbar on his neck. You could almost smell the Islamophilic notion of the nomenclature here. Paul inherits too much power, and he has to be trained without any compromise. Reverend Mother is somewhat displeased at Jessica for wasting so much potential on a male. Jessica was instructed to bear only daughters and to give birth to the female Kwisatz Haderach. They arrive at Arrakis, welcomed by the Fremen shouting, "Mazan el Gaib," or Messiah. Paul learns several things about the planet in his room. The desert planet is extremely dangerous, with sandstorms powerful enough to cut through the metal. Only the native tribes known as the Fremen, blue-eyed Bedouin-like tribes drawn from Arabic origins, who are dangerous and unreliable, have adapted to survive in this harsh environment. The spice harvest area is protected by the signature creation of Herbert, the sandworms which are attracted to rhythmic noises, like those noises from flying the insect-like aircrafts. The harvesting is also made extremely hazardous by Fremen attacks. Soon after they arrive, Paul is targeted by a hunter-seeker, but he catches it with his bare hands. The assassin is dead now. The Harkonnen Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, played by Stellan Skarsgård, plans to kill every Atreides. Leto learns of the Harkonnens' account books, and they set out to see the spice harvesting fields. Dr. Lyot Kynes takes them on ornithopters, the insect-like flying thingy. They get the chance to see a sandworm swallow a whole crawler while narrowly escaping it. Paul is examined by their family physician, Dr. Yu. Soon after that, he drugs Leto, gives him a tooth, and is delivered to the Baron. Meanwhile, Gurney, played by Josh Brolin, fights the enemy forces in the base, and some of the Atreides men are annihilated. Paul and his mother are kidnapped. Paul uses his voice against the kidnapper to remove the gag from his mother. He obeys, and his mother Jessica uses her voice to set the big kidnapper to kill all the others. The crippled Thopter lands, and Paul and his mother take shelter in a tent in Fremkit. As Dr. Yu delivers Leto to the Baron, he asks to free his wife, but the Baron kills him. Leto bites down on his tooth, taking almost all the servants with him. Paul and his mother encounter Duncan, and they take cover from a huge sandstorm in a sight. The enemy finds the station. Battle ensues, and Duncan falls, outnumbered by the enemy. As the enemy cuts through the room, Paul and Jessica escape on a Thopter and into a storm where the enemies stop chasing them. They crash on the desert. They continue to walk on until they encounter a huge sandworm, heading their direction. A thumper is set off at some distance that distracts the worm away from them. They are now surrounded by the Fremen. Jessica takes hold of Stilgar, and Paul takes out a poison dart gun. They set out for protection where their fate will be decided. Paul has several visions while his mother fights Stilgar in combat. Paul and Jamis face each other, but Paul draws first blood on Jamis. He is now being accepted as one of their own. They head into the desert, and here ends Dune Part 1. The movie should not stand alone. It needs another movie that can fulfill its focus.